So the comment put out today by Nigel Farage on his social media platforms was that if he's going to build these detention centres for mass deporting illegal migrants or so-called illegal migrants, then he's going to put them only in constituencies that vote for the Green Party and not in any constituencies that vote for reform. Whereas I think if you look at the scale of this issue, this issue of illegal versus legal migration, and look at the number of so-called illegal migrants in the United Kingdom at the moment, since refugees have a right to come here, for instance, under international law. They have a right to move between countries and seek refuge from torture and persecution and human rights violations, and we should absolutely be welcoming them and making a home for these people in our country, in my opinion. But according to some figures, such as this one peer, this Tory peer in the House of Lords, whose name I forgot, I can't remember at the moment, they're saying that there's up to 745,000 illegal so-called migrants in the UK at the moment, and this is a very, very large number of people. That's about 9 or 10 times the size of the prison population. So in practice, when it comes to working out the logistics, the practicalities of these detention centres, what is it going to look like? Detention centres, or is it concentration camps? And I don't know how because these are going to be presumably secure facilities where the migrants, they're not allowed to leave, and they're going to have to be staffed by people. I don't know how many reform voters are willing to work in a concentration camp, since this is what it would be in reality. And it is a disgusting and despicable notion to say that you're going to put them into constituencies that vote for the Green Party as opposed to reform constituencies. If this is something you really want, if you really want to see these detention facilities, clever rebranding for what will obviously have to be something very similar to a fucking concentration camp. If you want these facilities, have them in your own backyard. Take responsibility for your own racism, your own spoiled demagoguery, and have them in your own fucking constituencies where you can see them and where you can have the responsibility of staffing them. And I don't know like how many people are going to end up dying as a result of all this, and I don't know like what state the country's going to be in with widening wealth inequality and more money flowing to the top, as it inevitably would under a reform government. But nonetheless, this is atrocious. This is appalling. We can't be supporting this sort of politics. This is far right politics. This is fascism. And a lot of political aggregators out there, they're erring on the side that reform have a very good chance actually of being the largest party in the next election, and that they're not going to receive the majority they need to form a government, but they'll very likely be in a coalition with the Tories. And the Tories, after their disastrous 14-year tenure, may have recovered and recouped some of their popularity, and could be in a coalition with Reform with Nigel Farage as Prime Minister. Think about what would happen with such incompetence, such demagoguery at the helm of British politics. I shudder to think what will happen. I do not want to see this. I do not want to see 745,000 people interned, sent back to whatever countries they've come from to face punishments beyond our imaginings. And I don't want to live in this sort of world. And what will it come down to in practice? I reckon the novel that I'm writing at the moment about the civil war breaking out in the United Kingdom might actually be something close to the fucking truth, and that we're going to see bloodshed, a lot of it, and atrocities committed on British soil. They want us to get us out of the ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights, attacking human rights legislation here, there, and everywhere that was set up in direct response to the Third Reich, the reign of Adolf Hitler, and the calamity that befell Europe in the 1930s and 40s. And we want to see a repeat of that in history with an oily little gibbon like Nigel fucking Farage at the helm. Do you really want to see that? And in terms of like Nigel Farage being this charismatic leader or this strongman type, like, are you really that easily gulled by somebody? You think he's a nice guy to go down the pub with? I wouldn't want to be within 50 feet of Nigel Farage because I might end up swinging at him or something. But it enrages me. It makes my blood boil that people are so simple-minded and so selfish and so callous that they allow this snot-nosed little runt from an English private school that's gone through Lloyd's of London and become an investment banker and now has got some political opinions and dresses up like a farmer, even though he hasn't worked a day in his fucking life on a farm. And he's spouting this racist, inflected, gobbledygook nonsense, which is going to drag us back to earlier and more brutal and more primitive times in our history, when concentration camps existed. That is what you're voting for if you're voting reform. You are voting for the mass internment of a large group of people. And like, will it just be illegal migrants? Really? Or is it going to be anyone of a different skin color? Or anyone who's of a Pakistani or Indian or other Middle Eastern origins who's come here legally and has a visa and everything else. Like, when is this slippery slope going to end? Does it really stop with illegal migrants? Does it? I don't think it does very often. I think very often people are just simple-minded people, and there's a lot of those about there, about half the population. People with an IQ of under 100 just don't like black people, don't like brown people, don't like anyone who speaks a different language other than English, and just won't like them and is scared of them, and has this phobia of them, and that is racism, and that's how it works. And a lot of people are like that, and they're uniting. And on the left, we have to be united as well. We have to oppose this with everything that's in us, because I think we're closer than we think to seeing real atrocities committed in this country and doing something shameful for the sake of populism and for the sake of these charismatic slime who run parties like Reform. And it needs to be stopped at all costs.